So what I'm playing here are 4 dominant flat 9 chords at the same time. One thing I love about the diminished chords or the diminished scale is that it's symmetrical and it's angular. So it's very predictable. You know exactly what you're gonna get when you start to mix and match things. So we know that there are only 3 diminished 7th scales that exist. So C diminished 7th, D flat diminished 7th, and your D diminished 7th, and all the other inversions that actually go along with it. So let's take a look at the diminished scale, particularly the C diminished scale. So the first mode, because there's just gonna be 2 modes. The first mode is gonna be your whole half. So what I did, I went from C, whole step, to D, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, and finally the half step. That's the first mode. The second mode is half, whole. So half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, and finally the whole step. So I want us to concentrate and look at the second mode of this scale. Technically, with the second mode, all right, of C diminished, it's actually only 2 chords that are going to be played there. So that's in that entire scale. 2 diminished 7th chords, I should add. So the first one is going to be your C diminished 7th. The second one is going to be the C sharp D flat diminished 7th. Third one is going to be an inversion of the C diminished 7th. The fourth one is going to be an inversion of the second one, and it's going to keep going ad infinitum. It never completes, and it never sounds resolved because it's very angular, like I said, and just symmetrical. It's going to be binary. And it's an 8-tone scale. So again, you're going to have either 4 and 4 or 1 and 1, or groups of 3 and 3. And I'll explain what that means in a different video, but with things like this, there are things you can actually add to it that make sense mathematically, if you please. Being that we only have 2 scales, or 2 chords, rather, in this entire second mode of the diminished scale, all right? This is our first chord, and if we stack it, we have a hot mess, right? A muddy mess. But I want to illustrate that every chord tone, or every scale tone, is going to be played with what I'm about to show you. So now, we're not going to stack it like that, just using the same octave. Let's bring it an octave up, all right? We have this C diminished 7th chord on our left hand, and then we have this C sharp diminished 7th chord in our right hand. Doesn't sound like much when we play it together, but if we remove some of the notes, what we'll have, and here's where I'm going to blow you away. We have a C 7 with a flat 9. We go to the next chord, E flat 7 with a flat 9. F sharp 7 with a flat 9, and A7 with a flat 9. Same exact chords, just differences in the bass, or what you're playing as a root, what you would call a root. Same chord in your right hand. You can invert it if you want, just for clarity, but it's the same thing that just keeps repeating over and over and over again. And the beautiful thing about that is that you can actually use those flat 9 chords, 7 flat 9 chords, as 5 chord substitutions. So I'm going to show you an example. So the first one we said we had, right, is a C 7th chord, all right, with a flat 9, all right? This is our first one that we have. So what we'll do, it will do a 2-5-1 chord progression. That C is going to act like a 5 chord. So if I was in the key of F, of course, the C would be the 5th of F. So instead of playing this, you know, G minor 7, a C 7 to an F major, we can actually do G minor 7. We can alter that, C, and then go to home to F. Because that dominant chord, that C7 with a flat 9, resolves nicely, no matter what inversion, back to the F. So same thing for the E flat. We have that same chord, 7 flat 9 chord. We can use that as a 5 chord for a 2-5-1 chord progression. And so instead of E flat or B flat minor 7, E flat 7, and then we have, you know, A flat major 7, we can actually take a B flat minor 7th, and we can take the chord and alter it or change the 5th chord to the flat 9, 7 flat 9, and go back to A flat. And the beautiful thing is that it just keeps going. No matter what inversion that you use, it'll just stay going to that one chord, because it works great as a 5 chord. It's because of the tritone. That tritone for E flat works nice to take you right to A flat. And we have the same thing for G flat. We can do a 2-5-1 for G flat. The 5th or the 4th up or the 5th down of G flat, F sharp would be B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a 2-5-1 chord progression would be C minor 9th, and then the next chord we would take that and go. Probably wouldn't voice it like that, but you would take this. I'd rather voice it where the C sharp or the Yeah, the C sharp would be on top. So we would do this and then just resolve it there. Okay. What I love about that, again, you can just go all day and just invert it, and wherever you go, it'll still, land on that B, and it has a natural pull. The same thing with the A. You have that minor ninth sound, or flat nine sound, all right? And A is the fifth of D. So 2-5-1 for D would be E minor seventh, and then we can go to A flat and just resolve it to the D. The same thing I said about the inversions, they go on and on. So you can see how diminished scales work and how diminished chords work in tandem with each other. For more goodies like this, go check out my free guide at gospelprogressionsuniversity.com/Gospel Keys Pro. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.